The 1963 March on Washington. 250,000 people rallying for civil rights and equality. It was the largest peaceful protest in our nation's history and one of the greatest speeches Martin Luther King ever gave.
Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
But in spite of all you do know about that day, there is one story you may never have heard. In the new film Rustin, Colman Domingo portrays Bayard Rustin.
What they really want to destroy is all of us coming together and demanding this country change.
Without whom that historic day would have likely never happened. It is so great to talk to you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for having me. I'm delighted. Thank you.
Colman, this film is being celebrated at film festivals all around the world, media awards as well, spotlighting your work and George C. Wolfe, the director's work, even Lenny Kravitz's original song, Road to Freedom. But it's a story very few people know.
Lord, I hope and pray they come today.
Tell us the story of Bayard Rustin, how you discovered him, what he meant to the movement and to you.
I discovered this phenomenal human being when I was about 19 years old in college, and I was struck by his organizational skills, and he was such an interesting, singular man. He sang Elizabethan love songs and played the lute. He was a star athlete, and he was one of the greatest organizers this country has ever seen.
We are going to put together the largest peaceful protest made up of angelic troublemakers such as yourselves.
He organized the March on Washington. He was an influence to Dr. King.
Do this, Dr. King. Own your power.
Ideals about passive resistance that he learned from Gandhi. He was a phenomenal human being. And the reason why we don't know who he was is because he was pretty much erased in the history books because he was also openly gay.
On the day that I was born black, I was also born a homosexual.
Yeah, everyone in the struggle knew that they could not do this march without him, and yet they also worried that that struggle for equality might be hurt by his sexual identity. What did that say to you as a young man?
That said to me, I always looked at Bayard Rustin as being sort of a North Star, as an openly gay man myself, as someone who really was sort of really moving in spaces that were not welcoming him. He really was just so authentic at a time when it would be a challenge to his body and to his job and service, but he was committed to service of this country, and that meant more than anything. There's a line in our film that he poses to Martin Luther King.
They either believe in freedom and justice for all, or they do not.
And that, for me, is like what the film's about and what he stood for.
Black, white, young, old, rich, working class, poor will descend on Washington, D.C.
And it's a buoyant film, it's fun, it's witty, it's smart.
And now you're proposing 100,000 black folks invade Washington, D.C. Have you talked to Martin about this?
I lost his number, he lost mine.
You know, a lot of times actors complain about getting notes from studios and executives, but let's see, a guy named Barack and his wife Michelle were executive producers on that film. Were you okay taking those notes?
Come on out here, Colman.
Very okay with taking those notes. They're not only some of the most brilliant minds, but they're phenomenal storytellers, actually.
It is hard to overstate Bayard Rustin's influence on the civil rights movement.
That's what they're about. This is their first narrative feature, and they're fully behind it.
You're irrelevant. It's Friday night. I've been called worse.
Colman, you are always busy. I mean, many people know your Emmy Award-winning performance as Ali in Euphoria.
Listen, young blood, I was shooting dope before your mama's egg dropped.
You have roles in Fear the Walking Dead.
I can sell anything, everything. Ask anyone.
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
A one, a two, a you know what to do.
If Beale Street Could Talk.
We ain't got no Thunderbird, though.
This year, not just your critically acclaimed role as Rustin, you also are Mr., the abusive husband of Celie in the musical adaptation of The Color Purple.
I'd die before I let that happen.
Good. That's just the going away present I've been needing.
How daunting was it to step into Mr.'s shoes?
It was less daunting and more of a privilege. I think I'm always someone trying to really uncover someone's humanity, especially the humanity of Mister. Why do hurt people hurt people? I wanted to delve into the psychology of like what created Mister to abuse his wife. You know, whether it's about how what America has done, you know, because of slavery to black men in America, and like he didn't have, you know, words for tenderness. He was such a small person, a broken person, trying to make someone else feel small so he can feel big. I had to divorce myself from anything that the great Danny Glover did and really try to make it my own. And I think we created something that's lasting, that really gets into the heart and soul of all people, you know, to show why these things happen and then how we can break the cycles and generational trauma.
I mean, this is some kind of year for you. You've been in this business a while. You've done films, you've done TV, you've done Broadway. But does this feel special this year?
I love that I'm in all these conversations, especially for the work about Bayard Rustin and for The Color Purple, two things I think can change lives. So I feel like that's what any actor would want. You would want career opportunities like this that feels like it moves the needle in our humanity. And I'm extremely grateful. It feels wonderful.
We are committed to altering the trajectory of this country towards freedom. That's what's on the line. Nothing less.
Colman, can we get real superficial here? You have to tell me about that outfit you wore to the Globes.
Yes, that was a custom Louis Vuitton suit. Pharrell and is the new creative director, and I wanted to step out, especially. And I'm always trying to tell a story. So it was a Nehru collar, and Nehru was also colleagues with Bayard Rustin. So that's why we went for a Nehru collar. I wanted to feel like a king. I wanted to feel like strong, and especially as I'm representing Bayard Rustin, I want everyone to know his name.
Well, I'm a little biased now about you, but I would say you are in the mix with all the Hollywood royalty, so you achieved your goal. Thank you, Colman, and good luck.
Thank you.
You can stream Rustin now on Netflix.